For these next three presenters here, our first presenter will be Dr. Truong Quach, Team Lead of the Division of Orange Book and Regulatory Assessment within the OGDP within OGD at CDER. Next, we will hear from Dr. Xiaozhang Jing, Deputy Division Director in the Division of Bioequivalence 2 within the Office of Bioequivalence within OGD at CDER. And then lastly, we will hear from Dr. Feng Liu, Team Leader in the Division of Bioequivalence 1 within the Office of Bioequivalence in OGD at CDER. So if you will please take a moment to introduce with me Dr. Truong Quach.
All right, thank you, folks. My topic here is actually on a lighter sense compared to others, but today I'll be talking about the Orange Book, mostly the drug marketing status that is available in the Orange Book. So today I would like to present a brief history about the Orange Book, describe the basics of marketing status changes, describe 506I marketing status report requirements, discuss three case studies on 506I marketing, and then present you with a couple of challenge questions. So just to give you a bit background about the Orange Book. The Orange Book was distributed as a proposal in January 1979, and it includes currently marketed prescription drug products approved under NDAs and ANDAs under the provisions of the 505 of the FD&C Act and the regulations at that time. In 1980, the first Orange Book edition was published. And then in 1984, we have the passage of the Drug Price Competition and Patent Term Restoration Act, otherwise known as the Hatch-Waxman Amendments. This was the first time it was written to statute for approved prescription drug products with therapeutic equivalent evaluations. And then in 1985, in the sixth edition, FDA began identifying discontinued drug products in the prescription drug product list sections in the Orange Book, and that denoted as a caret symbol. And then onto 1987, in our seventh edition, a distinct discontinued drug product list, otherwise known as discontinued section, was created in the Orange Book. And then on top of that, we have our OTC, listing of the OTC and listing of the first patent and exclusivity addendums. The Orange Book is broken into four parts. The first part is the approved prescription drug product with therapeutic equivalence evaluation. The second part has to do with the over-the-counter drugs that are listed that may not be associated with the NDAs or ANDAs. The third part is the drug product with approval under sections 505 of the FD&C, which is managed by the Center of Biologic Evaluation and Research. And for that one, it's only shown in our annual edition. And the last part is a cumulative list of the approved products that have never been marketed, are for exportations, are for military use, or have been discontinued for marketing, and we have not determined if that were withdrawn for sales due to safety or efficacy reasons or any other reasons that has to do with marketing. Just like to point out that in our Orange Book preface, we have two sections that deals with the discontinued section and changes in the Orange Book. In sections 1.11, the Orange Book discontinued drug product list includes drug products that have been discontinued, but does not include products that were withdrawn for safety or effective reason, as confirmed by the Federal Register determination. These determination of whether a product was withdrawn for safety or effective reason made since 1995 and published in the Federal Registers are marked with a footnote to prevent repeated citizen petition requesting for determination for the same product. Drugs are added to this discontinued drug product list when manufacturers notify DOBPRA that the products are not being marketed, or when other reports administrative actions indicates the status. In sections 1.12, the Orange Book is carefully maintained and regularly updated for accuracy. Applicants are encouraged to notify DOBPRA of any changes such as ownership changes in marketing status that may move a product to the discontinued drug product list. Under section 506IA of the FD&C Act, application holder must notify the FDA 180 days before withdrawing a product from sale, or as soon as possible if the 180-day isn't feasible, but no later than the date of withdrawal. Additionally, under sections 506(I)(b), requires notification within 180 days of approval if a drug product won't be available for sale within the 180 days of approval. Speaking about the publication and how often this is updated in the Orange Book, information is updated by the website, and it's also available, downloadable as a PDF. Updates are made daily, semi-monthly, monthly, and on an annual basis. So what information is included in these updates? We have our daily website updates that happens in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, and we have patent information and generic drug approvals that gets updated daily. Next is we have our semi-monthly website updates. This is done twice a month on a Monday. Also happens in the afternoon. This consists of new drug approvals, ownership changes, marketing status updates, various types of changes due to drug listing information like changes related to therapeutic equivalents, reference listed drug, reference standard, and so forth, and that happens for that current month. Next type of update that you'll see is our monthly data file update, our website update, and our printed update, which is also known as the cumulative supplement updates. This is a full copy of the Orange Book, and this happens at the end of the second week of each month and consists of all the changes that happens in the Orange Book for the prior month. And then lastly, we have our printed annual edition of the Orange Book, which consists of a full copy of all the changes in the Orange Book, which occurs in the prior month. And this includes our Orange Book preface, our drug product lists, addendums, and appendices. And I'd like to note that the Government Printing Office has stopped printing copies, hard copies of our annual editions. So we refer you to our website, which provides you with the current annual editions. And also the software, the Orange Book software that we have is no longer being supported on the new operating system. So the most accurate information that you'll find is actually on the website. Therapeutic equivalent search. And then, so moving on to 506(I) marketing status report. This came about with the FDA Reauthorization Act of FDARA of 2017, which added the section 506(I) to the FD&C Act. And this has a few different things that goes under here, marketing status, that relates to withdrawal from sale, drug not available for sale, and also a one-time report on marketing status, which requires the NDA and the ANDA holder to provide a written notification to FDA within 180 days of enactment of FDARA, stating whether the NDA and ANDA holder drugs in the active section of the Orange Book were available for sale, withdrawn, or never been available for sale. We recommend that the NDA and ANDA holder should submit a notification of withdrawal from sale or a drug not available for sale in a letter to the applicable NDA or ANDA filed through the electronic gateway within the required time frame of the section under 506(I). And the notification should prominently note that this is under administrative change not available for sale. On the other side, we have the marketing begins or relaunch. Similar to the other marketing status, this you also have to submit it through the electronic gateway. And here you would promptly title it as administrative change notification of commercial markets. Please note that, updates made in the response to sponsor requests may be delayed if you title it wrong or title it differently. And most importantly, if you submit it through the annual report, we don't get notifications through there. So please, submit it as those two titles that we request so that we can process your request on time. So moving on to the first type of 506 notification of withdrawal from sale. This is This requires the NDA requires the NDA and ANDA holders to provide a written notification to FDA 180 days prior to withdrawing an approved drug from sale. So there's a list of stuff that we request you to add in the cover letter. The first part is the NDC code, which is the drug that is listed. Please note that for applications that have multiple NDCs, we request you to hold on to those until all NDCs have been discontinued, then submit your notification then. Similarly, for NDAs and ANDA holders, for most of the NDAs, sorry, for NDAs who have brand and authorized generic, please make sure that those have been, the marketing status of those both have been ceased before you submit the notification. We won't discontinue your product until both those criteria have been met. On top of that, we have established name of the drug, proprietary name of the drug if applicable, NDA or ANDA number, the strength of a drug, and then the date on which the drug is expected to be no longer to be available for sale. Note that the FDA generally considers it reasonable for this to be the date on which the application holder will or cease its own distribution of the drug product because it's the date that application holder itself has stopped making the drug product available for sale. And I'll point this point out later in our case study. And then we have reasons for withdrawal, for example, lack of demand, license agreement, supply chain disruptions, or anything related to the commercial launch for the drug product within 180 days. Next is the notification of drug not available for sale. This is under 506(i)(b), which requires the NDA and ANDA holder to provide a written notification to the FDA within 180 days date of approval of the drug if that drug will not be available for sale within 180 days of the date of approval. If the application holder intends to market within the 180 days of the date of approval of the drug, you don't have to submit this notification to us. We'll understand. So similar to the other one, we ask you to have the established name of the drug, the proprietary name of the drug if applicable, NDA or ANDA number, strength of the drug, and of course the date in which the drug will be available for sale if known, and then reasons for not marketing the drug after approval. Okay, and then next one has to do with the application relaunch. FDA recommends that the NDA or ANDA holder notify FDA in a letter to the applicable NDA or ANDA file 30 to 60 days before an anticipated launch date. The application holder should prominently identify the submission as an administrative change, notification of commercial marketing, and then we ask you to include the anticipated launch date of the product and whether the submission of the supplement is required prior to reintroduction of the drug product into the marketplace. Most importantly, if a prior approval on supplement is required, please submit that, submit the administrative change or notification commercial marketing notice 1 to 2 months prior to the go date of your PES. If we find that the PES is pending or approved or denied, DOBPRA will not return the drug to the active section until the PS is approved. On to my first challenge question, which of the following statement is not true about the 506(i) notification? A, notification of withdrawal from sales when the application has ceased marketing the product under all relevant NDCs. Notification of withdrawal from sale, NDA holders with both brand and authorized generic drug products should only submit their request when both will cease marketing. Notification of withdrawal from sale and notification of drug not available for sale should be submitted as administrative change, notification of commercial marketing to the NDA or ANDA and filed through the electronic gateway. And D, notification of drug not available for sale if the application holder intends to market within 180 days of the date of approval of the drug. No notification under this section to the FDA is required. So I'll give you some seconds here to think about that. If you answer C, that is not correct. For notification for not available for sale, you would submit that under the not available for sale. This commercial marketing is only if you want to relaunch your application. So on to my case studies that I presented here. This one has to deal with a 506I where they're requesting to move this to the discontinued section. As you see highlighted above, this was submitted in June 14. All the requirements are listed there and they're fine. Only thing here is that if you look at the marketing end date, they're requesting it to be on June 30th of 2025. So even though you submit this in June informing us that you wanted this to be discontinued, we're going to assume that the marketing end date would be June 30th of 2025. So we're going to discontinue it there. So my recommendation here is just hold on to it. If closer to that date, 1 or 2 months, and then just inform us then. My next example is an ANDA submitted to a letter to the agency on 11/30/2024 requesting to return all 4th-strand back to the market, but then they also told us there's a pending PES. So, and then when we checked our EOB, electronic Orange Book, we noticed that it's already in the active section. But then we looked at our record, we saw that there was no annual report of any source since 2018. So, and no distribution, so we moved it to the discontinued section to avoid any confusions on the market that this is available or not. And then once the PS was approved, we then moved it back to the active section of the Orange Book. So to note here is that, make sure you follow the regulations requirements, sending in, keeping us updated and sending in the information. And then just let you know that, so that we won't get any delays in returning your drug back to active. The third case studies I want to point out here is some ambiguity where the request is to discontinue 2 drugs that was submitted in 2020, early 2025, and then the 2 drug itself expires in later months, and then in addition, there was another statement down at the bottom saying that these are still in distribution, but we'll let you know when we want to discontinue it. Well, this kind of information doesn't really help us. So we'd rather you just hold on to it and just tell us, 1 or 2 months before it gets discontinued. Other examples that we've seen are if you're going to relaunch your new approval within 180 days, you don't have to tell us to discontinue that. If you're going to plan to relaunch it within that time frame, no notification is required for that one. Another request is that some of these say that they'll either relaunch or discontinue within a quarterly basis. Well, quarterly to us is like 3 months, 2 months, or whatever. So that doesn't really help us. So if you can give us like a time frame, month, date, year, that would be more helpful for us so that we can move your product back. I'm going to go through this second challenge question really quick here. All Orange Book changes are published on a bi-weekly schedule. B, if a PS is required prior to launch, the application holder should notify the FDA 1 to 2 months prior to anticipated approval of the supplement that the application holder is seeking market entry. Application holders have multiple NDCs, some of which are still marketed or have authorized generic that are still being marketed, may request the FDA to discontinue their drug product. And then the last D is the NDA or ANDA holder may submit a notification of marketing status change via email to the Orange Book. Which one is true here? There's only one that's true, which is B. The PS itself, once you should notify the FDA 1 or 2 months. A wouldn't be right because we do a daily update, provide you a daily update on the new generic drug application and patents. C wouldn't be right because we would ask you to hold off until all NDCs and authorized generics have been exhausted. And D wouldn't be right because we ask you to submit that to the electronic gateway. You can FYI us through the mailbox so that we can get it too, that's fine, but the official way is sending it through the gateway. And then all my slides are based off of these 3 resources here. So you can always go into the resources here and look up that information. And then what I'd like you to take home today is that the Orange Book receives marketing status change daily and strives to provide the most up-to-date information through regular updates. To facilitate your processing of your request for marketing status update, application holders should adhere to the requirements for making status updates. Your marketing status request should clearly provide the specific dates in which the strength is being withdrawn from sale or returned to market, and the marketing status change are typically updated and published bi-weekly in electronic Orange Book. And if you have any further questions, you can always reach out to our mailbox. And I'll reserve my question for the panel, and I'll introduce Dr. Liang to the podium.